Very good morning, children. Welcome to our ninth standard, first chapter, Civics. What is democracy and why democracy? In this chapter, previously you learnt what is democracy and what are the important features of democracy, and even under the features, like the major decisions must be taken by the elected leaders, and second one is there must be a free and fair competition, and also there must be a respect for the rights of the people, and even the final one, rule of law and respect for rights. Even though these are the features of democracy, but in some countries how the rights of the people were rejected and how the people actually finally got their rights, all we have seen with examples like what happened in Mexico, and even what happened even in case of China, where there is a single party rule, that is Chinese Communist Party, and even some countries like Saudi Arabia, which gave right to vote to women very late, and even Fiji, a country where there is a discrimination between the native people and settled people, and even Estonia, another country where you find discrimination among the citizens while giving right to vote. And today, even one more example they are explaining here, that is rule of law and respect for rights is one of the features of democracy. And is there rule of law in that particular country, in our example? First of all, you have to understand what is rule of law. Rule of law means all are equal in the eyes of law. No special privileges, no special concessions in favor of any individual. All citizens are equal, no discrimination. Understood? So in that way, rule of law is the important feature of democracy. If there is no rule of law, you cannot say that particular country is a democratic nation or democratic state or democratic country. So that is another important feature of democracy. So in this example, after explanation of this example, just to tell me that is there rule of law in that country, particular country. See, in Zimbabwe, a African nation which you find completely to the bottom part, south part of African continent, and the country which has its neighbors like South Africa, Zambia, Tanzania, Kenya, all these countries as neighbors. And in this country, after a continuous struggle against a white minority, that is a party led by a party, that movement led by a party called Zimbabwe African National Union Patriotic Front. In a simple way, it is ZANU PF. That party led continuous struggle against white minority, and finally Zimbabwe was liberated in 1980 from white minority. So even though it was liberated from white minority, from other country people, how the citizens of Zimbabwe actually faced more problems, even under own leaders. That means that country leaders only, how they kept all people in trouble, how they denied rights, that let us see. So in 1980, elections were held for Zimbabwe. The old name of Zimbabwe was Rhodesia. What it is? Rhodesia, and Zimbabwe capital is Harare. Understood? So this Zimbabwe, whenever the Zimbabwe is liberated from the white minority, elections were held in which ZANU PF party, the party which actually led a struggle against white minority, won in the elections, and Robert Mugabe became the president of Zimbabwe. So who became the president of Zimbabwe? That is Robert Mugabe became the president of Zimbabwe. So after continuous struggle, even though the people of Zimbabwe liberated from the white minority under their own ruler, under their own elected leader, particularly they began to face more problems. See, in what way actually Robert Mugabe completely neglected democracy means, the first of all, he number of times he changed the constitution. Number of times by changing constitution, he limited the accountability of the president. He limited the accountability of the president. That means president is not at all responsible, not at all accountable for more and more matters of administration. By changing the constitution, he did that. That was the first important decision and change which was made after 1980 in Zimbabwe. And not only that, the opposition party workers were harassed, and those were completely, even some people were kept in prison, the people who actually opposed the decisions of ruling party. That is another important. So there was no voice against the government. That is one more important thing. And even the public interest and demonstrations were completely considered. Those were regarded, those were considered as illegal. That means if there is any public demonstration, if there is any strike, if there is any rally, if there is any protest against the government, those were all considered illegal. So in that way, the freedom of expression, the freedom of speech was completely curtailed in Zimbabwe. And not only that, even the freedom of press was completely banned, and even the TV and radio were completely controlled. That means even they also, the means of communication and mass communication, mass media, he kept more restrictions. Even these also should not speak against the rulers, particularly Robert Mugabe. And the press, which is considered fourth estate, through press only the people come to know what is actually what is the present government, in what way the government is actually working for the benefit of the people. Is it working for the benefit of the people or not? Through the mass media, through the electronic media, through the print media only, the people come to know, but he kept more restrictions in case of this both print media and electronic media. So that was also happened in Zimbabwe. And finally, the judiciary, which actually has to work for the benefit of the people, whenever the judiciary actually gives the best judgments, even those judgments were also completely not considered, even those were also not taken by the president of Zimbabwe, that is Robert Mugabe. So in that way, 1980 until 2017, nearly 37 years he ruled Zimbabwe, but in these years, people actually faced these kind of problems. Even though there is elected ruler, there was no meaning of rights, there were no actually incidents where actually people enjoyed their rights. So this is not considered a democratic nation. Here there was no rule of law, and there were no execution or implementation of rights. So we cannot call that particular situation as a democratic situation, and even we cannot tell that country is a democratic nation. So why we have taken this example because in such situation people cannot enjoy rights and there is no meaning for democracy. So that is what actually you have to understand. Now, even though the democracy is the best form of government, which is considered a best form of government even from the ancient times and now also, there are some arguments against democracy. What are those arguments? So the first argument is, generally in democracy, the changing of leaders. For every 5 years, what we do? For every 5 years, elections take place. In those elections, actually we elect new leaders. Whenever the leaders are changed, it leads to instability. What is the first important against an argument against democracy means? Whenever elections are held now and then, oftenly there is a possibility of instability. Just take simple example. If your subject teacher goes on actually changing, you may not have correct idea about your subject. Even your local leader, your ward councillor, or your chairman of your municipality, for every 1 year or for every 2 years, if a new person comes, you may not find stability in the administration. So what is the argument here means? There is a possibility of instability in the administration. See, in our country in 2014, we have elected Narendra Modi as Prime Minister, and in 2019 also we have elected Narendra Modi as Prime Minister. So if a person works continuously at least for 10 years or 15 years or 20 years, he may implement what actually he thinks. But in a democracy, there is a choice that people can elect new leaders in every election. So here the argument is, if elections take place in such a manner, there is instability whenever leaders are changed. That is the first important argument against democracy. So changing of leaders may lead to instability in the administration. Second one, so democracy, particularly it is based on political competition and power play. In democracy, there is a possibility of political competition and power play. There is a severe competition and even there is a power play. So whenever political competition, whenever competition is there in politics, there is no morality. In more cases, we may not find a morality. So morality means what? So if we are in a position to tell what is good, what is wrong, what is right, some leaders, the people who do not have enough money to spend in elections, the people who do not have the caliber and capacity to attract the voters, even though they are good in nature, they are eligible to become a good leader, sometimes they may lose in elections. The people who can influence, the people who can compete in elections, they may win in the elections. So is there any possibility for such morality? No morality. So that's why, as the democratic form of government is based on the political competition, power play, sometimes there is no place for morality. That is second one. Third one, the democratic form of governments, we need to consult more and more people, intelligent people, experienced people, in order to take decisions. A single person cannot take all decisions by himself. So he has to consult more and more people to take decisions. In such situations, the taking of decisions may be delayed. That's why it leads to what? Delays. Some decisions will be delayed. That is the third important argument against democracy. That means in democracy, we need to consult more and more people, that lead to delays. And another important one, in democratic form of government, all leaders may not know the best interests of the people. What are the best interests? What actually the people are thinking? The leaders most of the leaders may not know the best interests of the people. Because of that, they may take bad decisions. They may take bad decisions. Why do they take bad decisions? Because leaders may not know the best interests of the people. So it leads to taking of bad decisions. That is one more. And even in democracy there is a possibility of corruption, and as it is based on electoral competition, it leads to corruption. And finally, the ordinary people do not know what is good for them, so they should not decide anything. So ordinary people do not know what is good for them, so they should not take decisions. But in democracy, what we have given? We have given universal adult franchise. That means we have given right to vote to all people, irrespective of their educational status, race, color, gender, educational qualifications. But whenever they participate in deciding representatives, they may take, we don't know whether they take good decisions or not, whether they elect good representatives or not. But in democracy, it is actually taking place. Ordinary people also exercising their right to vote, but whether they exercise their vote actually elected good representatives or not, that is a important question mark here. So these are all the arguments against democracy, even though there are so many criticisms and also demerits in democracy, but most of the people say that the democracy is the best form of government in the world. Now let us see how it is a best form of government. So after understanding the arguments against democracy, let us see what are the arguments for democracy. That means in what way democracy is the best form of government. So even though the democratic form of government have some disadvantages, according to most of the people, great people, the democracy is the best form of government. How it is so? The first one, before going to see the arguments, one simple example they are explaining. In China, a famine took place in 1958 to 61. A famine. So what is famine? Actually, when famine take place, generally famine take place whenever there is no rainfall. Whenever there is no normal rainfall, the people are not able to grow enough food grains in the country, automatically famine take place. Whenever people do not have enough food grains to eat, you may find more deaths, starvation deaths. Even though people have money to purchase food grains, there are no stocks of food grains. So such situation happened in China in 1958 to 61. The Chinese government, the communist government, actually failed to take decisions, and whenever they failed to take fast decisions, they lost nearly 3 crore people in that famine. So why they have explained this example, that in a democratic form of government, as there is a possibility to allow the opposition parties can raise their voice and they can make some corrections in the ruling party, and the ruling party also may afraid that if we do not take fast decisions now, if we do not work for the benefit of the people now, in the coming elections they will be replaced. But in China there is no such possibility, the opposition parties cannot raise voice against the ruling party. There is a single party system in China, that is Chinese Communist Party is the leading party, what we have learnt earlier. So the representatives may be changed, but parties will not be changed. The same party has been ruling China from 1949 October 1st, when China was actually independent. But in our India, the country where you find a multi-party system, if the party, the ruling party do not take correct decisions, that party will be replaced in the coming elections. So whenever there is such situation, whenever there is a possibility of allowing the opposition parties to raise their voice, there will be more benefit for the people. So that's why here the opinion of the most of the people, that if the same situation in India, if we have the same situation in India, there was no such huge loss of human lives. So children, what you have to understand, in democratic form of government, you may see more and more advantages. Among those advantages and among those arguments for democracy, the first important one is government is more accountable form of government. Democratic form of government is more accountable form of government. So here, was it accountable? If it is accountable, why it lost 3 crore people? So the government must be accountable to the people. It has to take fast decisions. It has to import some food grains from other countries. If there is no the critics' voice, the people may not respond fast. So that's why here the democratic form of government is more accountable. If there is democracy, if there is a possibility of the voice of the rising of voice of the opposition, there will be more benefit for the people. That the first important advantage, the first important argument for democracy is it is more accountable. And next one, the democracy improves the quality of decision making. Democracy improves the quality of decision making. Why? How? Generally, in democratic form of government, all decisions are taken based on consultations, based on discussion. We need to consult more and more people. We need to deliberate. We need to discuss before taking any great decisions. More, we have to conduct more meetings. Committees will be laid by the government before taking any decisions. Whenever such a process actually take place, whenever more discussions take place, more debates take place, more consultations take place, more meetings take place, there will be more quality in decision making. So in democracy it is possible, but in other forms of government, non-democratic form of government, you may not find such situation. That is one more important advantage. And the democratic form of government provides a method to deal with the differences and conflicts. Differences and conflicts. See, India is a nation where you find more religious people, now different types of religious people, and also more castes, more cultures, more languages, more customs. But in non-democratic form of government, all people have to obey. All people were subjected to the decisions taken by the leader in a non-democratic form of government. Even if the leader takes the decisions in favor of one group, if one group only dominates the entire nation, the remaining groups cannot raise their voice. But in democratic form of government, we take decisions in favor of all races, all religions, all castes. We don't work only in favor of one particular race, one particular religion, one particular group. So, In non-democratic form of government, if the ruler takes decisions in favor of one group, a resentment, dissatisfaction may rise against the government. In so many countries, you might have observed such examples. So, being the democratic form of government, we are completely taking decisions, we are completely solving conflicts, we are solving differences, being a democratic form of government. So that is another important advantage, that we provide a best method. We deal all the differences, we deal all the conflicts. And one more important, it enhances the dignity of citizens. It enhances it. It increases the respect for the citizens. Just take simple example that we have provided universal adult franchise to all religious people, all caste people, all regions people, all social status. Irrespective of their social status, we have given universal adult franchise. So with that, we have enhanced their respect. We have enhanced their dignity. It is possible only in democratic form of government, not in other forms of government. And finally, it allows us to correct our own mistakes. In democracy, we can correct our own mistakes. There is a room for correcting our mistakes. Understood? So whenever the opposition parties actually point out our mistakes, we try to correct our mistakes. There is a possibility. But in non-democratic form of government, whenever no one rise, no one criticize their mistakes, there is no possibility to correct their mistakes. Whatever they do, they think that that is good. Even that is benefited to the people of the that particular country. In that way, there is no possibility to correct our own mistakes. Why? Because here in democratic form of government, the leaders try to correct their own mistakes, because if they don't correct their mistakes, in the coming elections, they will be replaced. So that is what actually happened in democratic form of government. So children, I hope you understood what are the advantages, what are the merits, what are the arguments for democracy. So in democracy, particularly, it is more accountable form of government, and it improves the quality of decision making, and it provides a method to deal with differences and conflicts, and even it enhances the respect of the citizens, and even it allows us to correct our own mistakes. Okay, thank you children. I hope you understood the present, that is what today's session, that is we have seen the first important, the important feature what we have left in the previous class about Zimbabwe, that we have learnt, and what are the arguments against democracy we have seen, and what are the arguments for democracy also we have seen. So I hope you understood, and even if you have doubt still, just open the first chapter of civics in your NCERT textbook, and try to write answers for the worksheet. Thank you.